I caught my girlfriend curled up on the couch with a man she called her brother, and that was the moment my stomach twisted because something in the way they looked at each other felt nothing like family. That was the first time I felt a crack in my reality, but I pushed it aside because I believed in her, more than I believed in my own instincts. I had no idea that the person she introduced as Mark would become the reason everything in my life would break apart. I met Jenna when I was 27. She was warm, playful, and she made me feel chosen every single day. We spent weekends exploring new places, laughing until our stomachs hurt, and making plans that felt so real they almost tasted tangible. She told me I made her feel safe. I told her she made me feel seen. I was hers without hesitation. Months into our relationship, she mentioned she had an older brother named Mark who was protective and overly involved in her life. She said not to mind him and not to feel intimidated because he acted that way with every guy she dated. I brushed it off. Family was important to me, and I wanted to get along with hers. The first time I met him, they sat close together on the couch with their shoulders touching, and when I entered the room, she jumped up like she'd been caught doing something wrong. I laughed it off. They were family. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend who misread everything. Slowly, though, things started to feel off. She'd leave the room every time he called. She'd get dressed up to run small errands, but only on the days she said he was coming into town. She would text him late at night, with a smile she never used with anyone else. When I asked why she was always so secretive about her conversations with him, she would brush my questions aside with a laugh. She told me I was being dramatic. She told me I was imagining things. She told me I needed to trust her more if our relationship was going to work. I tried. I really did. But every time I saw his name flash across her screen, something inside me tightened. Eventually, the tension became impossible to ignore. One afternoon, she said she had plans to meet Mark for lunch. I asked if I could come along, and she instantly stiffened. Seth told me no, that it was a sibling bonding thing, and that I would ruin the vibe. That bothered me. But what bothered me more was the way she rushed out of the house wearing the kind of dress she usually saved for nights out with me. I sat there for a while, trying to calm my thoughts, but something deep down whispered that today was different. Something told me this was the moment everything would finally make sense, so I grabbed my keys and followed her from a distance. I found her at a quiet cafe, tucked away in a corner booth, and there he was. Mark. Except the way they looked at each other made every inch of my skin crawl. Her smile was too bright. His hand brushed her knee for too long. She leaned into him like someone leaning into a lover. That wasn't brother and sister. I knew then that my instincts were right. But I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I needed the truth. Something undeniable. Something that would shatter the lies once and for all. So I waited. A week later, everything fell apart on its own. I came home early and heard voices coming from the living room. Hers. And his. When I walked in, they were sitting on the couch, knees touching, fingers intertwined. She froze when she saw me. He didn't move at all. The way they separated their hands told me everything I needed to know. She tried to explain. She tried to talk over her own panic. She said he wasn't really her brother. She said they had dated in the past and stayed close because they didn't want to lose each other. She said she lied because she was afraid I wouldn't understand, afraid I'd get insecure, afraid I'd leave her. In that moment, I didn't feel anger. I felt numb, empty, like someone had reached inside my chest and unplugged every emotion at once. But numbness didn't last. The truth set everything on fire, and once it burned clear, I knew exactly what I had to do. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. Instead, I told her calmly that if she wanted him so badly, she could have him. All of him, without me standing in the way. Before she could beg me to listen, I walked out. And that was the start of my revenge. Not dramatic, not loud. Just absence, complete and final. She tried everything to get me to come back. Voice messages, long texts, showing up at places she knew I loved. She said she made a mistake. She said I was the best thing that ever happened to her. She said she didn't want him, but the truth was she wanted both of us. She wanted attention without loyalty, and she wanted comfort without honesty. When I didn't respond, she started sending screenshots of her blocking him, photos of them deleting old messages, desperate proof that she was done with him. But I had already moved on. I started rebuilding my life slowly. I surrounded myself with people who brought peace instead of chaos. I found joy in simple things again, and the more I healed, the more her desperation faded into background noise. Months later, I heard from a mutual friend that she and Mark tried giving their relationship another shot. It lasted 2 weeks before he cheated on her with someone else. She was devastated. I wasn't surprised. That was the same chaos she had chosen over me. The same dishonesty she tried to hide behind the word brother. I felt nothing but relief, knowing I had escaped a storm that was never meant for me. Healing wasn't easy, but it was worth every painful step. I learned that love without honesty is nothing but a performance, and that people who lie about who they are will never tell the truth about how much they value you. I also learned that walking away isn't weakness. It's power, the kind of power that rebuilds your life in ways betrayal could never destroy. Karma always comes back around. Lies always unravel, and people who treat others like options eventually end up alone with their own regrets. If you ever feel your instincts screaming that something is wrong, trust them. They're trying to save you from heartbreak you haven't seen yet. Subscribe to SilkMirror for more real-life stories of heartbreak, revenge, and transformation.